past city was a complete failure. However, we have a new city, and we're just going to forget about the old one.
Well, we don't have to talk about the old one because that was their fault anyway. They weren't worthy of us, and they paid for their lack of respect and lack of work ethic.
It is obvious that leadership was not in the role of the downfall of St. Beaversburg.
No, they died despite our great leadership.
They died in the face of terrible farming techniques and horrible collectivization.
Well, they were sleeping all the time. Like at least I don't know 2 hours a day, and that contributed to the fact that we had a more spectacular famine than even what Joseph Stalin pulled off.
Yes. And I guess they were in the long run quite lucky.
Well, a proper communist famine, you only want to realistically kill off half the people half the time, and that kills off the stupid people who didn't toe the line. But now we've got some proper workers, peasants, and only I don't know 80% of the crops are far, but there's still enough of carrots for them to fight over.
Yes, we did have some crop death, but at least we are at the same stage with less deaths and also more food. This is what happens when beavers are actually worthy of your leadership.
Okay, so when do we get to build a statue of their leader?
Well, you see, we currently do not have the technology like last time.
But we have enough food that they could live long enough to build a statue to prove how amazing we are.
Yes.
Okay, you got 237 food. So how many days or months of food is that going to be enough for?
We don't have scientists. Actually, we do, but we don't have mathematicians to calculate that.
Now, those missile silos that beaver's walking past, is that water storage, or is that nuclear missiles, or is that baby beavers? What's that? What about?
We are going to store water in there for now until we get nuclear missiles.
Okay. And we're building some commie blocks soon.
Oh yes, actually we already have one on the way right here. It is so beautiful and glorious.
Could we incorporate more concrete into their construction to make them sort of, more grey and depressing?
We don't have any sand.
Okay. Well, but if we can make them more grey and depressing, then that would sort of work hand in hand with our vodka production when we grow potatoes, and then they can be miserable, grey, and play, violins,
and
depressed, and but more excited at the idea of working, because that's the only excitement they get out of life, working and alcohol.
And this beautiful city
and worshipping us.
is actually called Beaver-vostok.
Beaver-vostok. I like the and what the Chinese beavers aren't going to try and ask for a back soon, are they? We're not going to have to stand over them.
Oh well, they're all the way over there, and I'm sure their dam will fail.
Well, yeah, Beaver-vostok is most certainly a Soviet beaver. What do they call it? Territory, and we're not going to give it back to the Chinese beavers anytime soon. So what happens next? We're going to put this in the work 'em to death mode?
Oh, absolutely. The farmers need to get rid of those dead crops.
So we're going to come back in a moment?
Yes.
Okay. So it looks like we finally have some food. Beaver-vostok, we've bounced back, made a recovery.
Mm-hmm.
So who are our wonderful farmers who have led the charge in that department?
Our glorious farmers who have been leading the way in development of the crops are Stalin and Mikhail.
Well, that's brilliant. I don't think you could do much better than have a Stalin in our midst, or a Mikhail. Future's bright either way. Okay, so what are we doing with the lumberjacks? The lumberjack, now over here, I see trees popping up. I thought that was food a moment ago.
You mean these trees?
These trees. Why are we planting these? They don't look like pine trees.
They don't look like birch trees either. These are basically better birch trees.
Okay, so how many more logs per what do we call them? These we were saying early on, these were maples. I remember you telling me there were maples in the game. How many logs do we get out of them?
When they are fully grown, they will provide us with 8 logs compared to a measly 1 log per birch tree.
Okay, so now my dream of building commie blocks, if you show the commie blocks, I want a concrete jungle, but I'm not going to get that, unfortunately. How many logs per commie block are we going to need? So what's our production looking
So
like?
for the most basic commie block, we are looking at 12 logs.
That's pretty good. So 1.5 maples, that's a commie block. Okay, and because we're environmental terrorists, I take it at some point we're going to dam and fill in the rivers.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, and what we have to unlock that the next level of environmental destruction.
And to help in our environmental destruction, we have unlocked wooden stairs as a technology, and that means we can stack buildings on top of each other.
Okay, so important milestones. How far away from building a statue of the great leader or an internment camp or a long road to the gulag? How far are we from these exciting projects?
We are approximately 1,000 science points and 200 logs away from doing that.
Now, all these beavers are more or less reboots of all the other beavers that were beavers. Beavers, they're not Canadian beavers. All the other beavers that were unworthy of our great leadership. So it's more or less we got a Constantine version 2.0 and a Victor version 2.0.
The fact that they weren't farming properly in what was it again?
St.Beaversburg.
St.Beaversburg. See, we've already forgotten about them. The reason
And
why
so
they
should
failed.
history. So should history. Yeah, keep going.
The reason why they failed is because they weren't worthy of our leadership, as we've previously said, and they basically asked to die when they didn't farm properly.
Well, a proper communist sort of starvation, mass famine, you only want, just enough people or beavers dead to teach them a lesson. 40 million, 70 million should do it. That'll straighten them out every time. And they've learned their lesson. They go, well, all my parents are dead, but I'm going to behave now and work harder. That's how we do it, isn't it?
Yes, and we should also think about the future because you'll notice that we're probably going to have misbehaved
No, I just want to
beavers.
correct you. We don't call it the future. It's our glorious future. Our glorious future, our march forward.
March forwards, yes. I say we need to get rid of political opponents.
Now, I remember you telling me at some point, I don't think it was recorded, but you were telling me about unemployed beavers. Now, I don't mind unemployed beavers as long as they're coming up with better ideology. Who do we have unemployed?
Okay, let's look at our unemployed beavers. Okay. We have Rimsky, who is unemployed,
I
and
like that. Yep, Rimsky's a good name for a Russian beaver.
and where is he? Um, he's somewhere here.
Do you remember his name? Is he hiding?
He's probably hiding from us. His name is Trotsky.
That's a good start. Do we have a Marx?
Not yet, but I'm sure he will appear and he will be very
Because
unemployed.
you need the smartest people. Never go to work, never run a company, never run a country, but they have all the best ideas. Paradoxically, for some reason, that's the kind of people we need to push this society forward. You
And
reckon?
yes, the university
It
students.
just feels right. Okay, so I reckon we've milked this point in the development of our society. Is there anything else we can do before we put them in work to death mode?
I say what we do is, yes, we create a little more farmlands because we can't have too much of that. We don't want too much that they are going to get big, but we also don't want too little that they starve.
Okay, so you're going to set them up and leave them in work to death mode and get back to these people in a sec. Is that what we're going to do?
Yes, work to death mode activated.
Okay, Joe, so what's happening now? They're still working. We've got them in work to death mode, obviously. Well, they're not working that fast, but the sun has gone down. How much sleep do we let them have this time?
We only let them have. So they work 60 nowadays, right? I'm not good at math, so that's about 8 hours sleep, is it?
It's a bit much, don't you reckon? The average adult that we have in human society is getting 5 hours sleep a night, and they're okay. You've only got to watch Karen videos on YouTube, and there's nothing wrong with getting 5 hours sleep a night, or
I think I agree with
eating
you.
junk food and
Let's
smoking
make
and drinking.
them work. Let's make them work 18 hours a day. Is that good?
I reckon cut them back to normal human sleep hours, and if they have like blue screens before bedtime and too much caffeine, let's just see if we can create a mass psychosis like our society. What do you reckon?
I think that's a brilliant idea.
Because if they're not at least keeping up with the rest of us, working ourselves to death, we can't actually talk them up.
And now, also, why isn't this staircase built? I thought we were productive. This lumber mill needs to meet its production quotas.
Okay, who's unemployed?
We have no unemployed beavers now. Actually, we have one.
Have one. What's his name?
He is where is he? My goodness, finding unemployed beavers is hard.
Yeah, but he's probably he's probably thinking of some great ideas at least. What's his name?
Oh
wow, that's brilliant.
this?
That's brilliant.
Who is this?
Oh, now see, he's a thinking man. Okay, he'll tell everybody else how to do it. What? Oh, it is. That's Marx.
That's Karl Marx.
That is. That's brilliant.
Oh my God, it's the chosen one.
The chosen one. Okay, so he's right in the midst of our beaver society. He's gonna point us all in the right direction.
He watches everyone else and tells everyone else how to do things.
We'll draw our inspiration from his ideas.
Oh, he's brilliant.
What has he done so far?
Absolutely nothing.
Really? That's all we expect from him.
Absolutely.
But it's a paradox, isn't it? Because he's never actually done anything. He can see how everybody else has done it wrong.
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
It truly is.
He's going to be like the philosophical goose that lays the golden eggs.
And Trotsky and Rimsky now have a job. They work at the lumber mill. Okay. So yes, Trotsky...
I suppose if you have less of intelligence, you have to work. But if you're really just a hidden genius, an unsung genius, you don't have to work.
Or Trotsky's on their hamster wheel.
Maybe they could all get educated and never do hard work in their lives. What do you reckon? No, we can't do that. That would collapse society.
Oh, look here. We have Mikhail and Stalin collecting the glorious crops.
That's the important thing we have. Everything is glorious. It's a glorious crops, glorious trees.
Who is this?
Glorious plans.
Is this
spectacular?
This
amazing.
is Romanov. We should probably get around to killing them.
Is he on borrowed time? Romanov is a sort of an ill-fated name, don't you think?
Oh, I think.
I reckon Trotsky's got to watch his back as well. I reckon.
Make sure we send him to the gulag.
I reckon there's a fox among the hens in there. I reckon.
Yes, we must get rid of. We'll make them disappear.
Okay, so what's our next? How do I get this right? Our next glorious infrastructure project.
I think our next glorious infrastructure project will be a water wheel. Actually,
hang a second. No, you got to read that. Our next glorious will be a gigantic, spectacular water wheel, a whole row of them, and flood a valley and destroy a forest.
Yes, and it will be a massive factory.
Zillions of tractors and
they're actually
cars are
almost done. The water wheel.
Water wheel.
Actually, never mind. Our next massive project will be a massive commie block.
We're going to crack the whip. Everyone's going to work harder except Marx. I don't even want a blister on his hands because I want him doing exactly what he's supposed to do, coming up with brilliant ideas. And we got food.
Yep.
So these beavers won't have to die for the sake of their own stupidity. And we got logs on the way.
These beavers may be truly worthy of us.
Okay, so soon they'll have the opportunity to worship us. We'll have a statue up. Where are we headed for the next video? What can our viewers expect from the next video?
I feel like a massive famine or a drought might be on the way, but we'll forget about that.
Our brilliant leadership will just weasel around that.
I say we activate work to death mode.
Work to death mode. All right.
3, 2,